Hello, hello, hello. It's me. I am back today to wrap up our drafting videos, and that is so cool. You guys have written some of the best real fiction drafts I've ever seen. You are really excited about creating authentic dialogue. You have worked hard to incorporate your research into your introductions to create real context. You have worked hard to show rising tension and conflict in your rising action after the incident that begins the external conflict that drops down like a ton of bricks on your main character. You have created drama and real character relationships between characters, and that's not easy to do. Just so you guys know, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the unit, most kids who start stories literally never finish them. And I think you can probably flash back to a time when you were like, I have a really good idea for a story. And you start writing kind of because you just want to design something in your head, like a world or a battle or an alien something or, and then it just doesn't get finished because you just had like one idea. You didn't have a whole plan. But you planned really well and you did a great job. And I'm super proud of you. So anyway, you have been drafting through what I told you was going to be the longest point of your story, and it was the rising action through to the climax. We talked a lot about how to make your reader wait for the payoff of the big moment. We talked a lot about how to give your character a lot of internal thinking to balance out the action and the description of the drama of the climax. We talked a lot about how to place really important thoughts on their own lines in order to show your reader the impact of these moments on your character. And now you are ready to finish your story. So I'm going to show you what I did in order to finish up my story. On my timeline, as you know, once Claudia leaves the safety of Albus and Cassia's house, her life is not that much longer because she is engulfed in a ball of fire and very quickly perishes in the pyroclastic cloud of Mount Vesuvius. And so let's see what happens. I did slow down time a lot. I gave her another girl about her age to see suffering in the street. And the girl's going to give her a little bit of a warning. This is a place where I didn't put this in my timeline, but I did put it in my story because I just like didn't want her to come out and be like, and then like there she is, she's dead. So and here's what I did. Okay, so she opens the door and she comes out and she imagines finding her mother and brother at the top of the stairs. And that was a strategy I gave you. Like, have your character imagine the best case scenario and then be faced with the worst. Basically, what I'm encouraging you to do is just totally break your reader's heart. Okay. I don't know what I imagined finding at the top of those steps or what it was that made me so determined to leave the safe haven and Albus and Cassia's back cellar. Maybe I envisioned that my mother and brother would be standing at the top of their stairs against a blue sky, as blue as the birds from the painting I had just started that morning. Claudia, my mother would be saying with her arms outstretched, where have you been? You must have fallen asleep in the cellar. This has just been a nightmare. A bad dream, my brother would echo. Instead, my eyes adjust through the haze of smoke and ash, in time to see pairs of legs running and bodies strewn onto the cobblestone road, coughing, desperate for a breath of air, and like this is something I think I should stretch out when I finish the story and like when I'm going into revision, which we're going to start really soon. Revision is when you change the big ideas and you add more details. So I want to make that like even more dramatic and like really show the colors and like the dirt and the sweat and the heat. So I'll probably elaborate more there. My eyes meet the eyes of a girl about my age, laying on her side. Her face is sweaty and bright red, covered in smears of black soot, with one hand clutching her chest and the other outstretched towards me. She's whispering something with the only breath she has remaining. I step towards her, starting to cough. What? I yell amidst the terrified screams around me. Her mouth moves still, but the sight of her face is obscured by legs racing past her. I move closer still. I can't hear you. I am in a trance, finding it harder to breathe, but dead set on hearing what she has to say. I am no more than a foot away from her when I make out the faint sound of her voice saying, "Run." Her eyes glance behind us, and I follow her gaze just in time to see an enormous, shocking red and orange blaze, a flash of fire appearing over the tops of the market stalls, the buildings of Albus and Cassia's house. All I can do is watch. Heat building. So I'm going to put this on its own line. Incinerating everything I have always known in less than 5 seconds. Soon engulfing me in flames, along with the girl laying on her side, the one who had not even had a chance at safety. So she's dead. So I don't have to say I am dead because she's dead. She doesn't have to say it. So we know that. So now I'm going to switch point of view and I'm going to start referring to her in the third person. Within minutes, the village of Pompeii was utterly destroyed. What remained was forever on display as terrifying artwork, frozen bodies immersed in porous volcanic ash. Claudia, laying in the roadway, outside of Albus and Cassia's cellar, her mother and brother cradling one another next to the fishmonger's stall, less than half a street away, apart and forever immortalized in stone. So that's kind of creepy. So my resolution ends here. So like my falling action ends here. Falling action is when you know what happens to the character, and resolution is when you know what happens to the context. Okay? So that's what the end of my story is. All right? Falling action, we know what happens to the character. Resolution, the character can still be in it if they're alive. We have to know what happens like after the fact. But mine's dead. So I just have to explain the context. Okay. So between today and tomorrow, you'll probably finish up. And then on Thursday, we will start our big idea revision, which is going to mean changing big stuff, big sweeping changes across your draft. This is really the part where authors roll up their sleeves and get really down and dirty with their big sentences, their paragraphs. Characters are created, characters disappear. Big idea revision is really a creative process. And then small idea revision is changing like little words and little ideas to be more specific. Okay. Good luck today.